it. It's time for another craft roulette process video, and we've got all sorts of things out already. So, this is for a peekaboo card, which was the project this week. We have Rain, which I pulled out my Simon Hurley stamp set again. That's uh, Puddle Pals, I think, is the name of this one. And it's got a lot of cute little sentiments as well. Um, and then a distressed edge and kindergarten colors, which I grabbed some yellow for the raincoat and some blue, and I think of primary colors. I think I'm going to distress the edge of the front with blue, and then maybe use this apricot to do sort of a tone-on-tone kind of stamping with like the clouds or something, because I haven't done anything of that nature in a while. So let's talk about the pop-up card. Um, This is basically taken directly from a Jennifer Maguire video, and it has three parts, and I can walk you through. I should just link the video because it's probably the easiest way to do this, but let me just walk you through the pieces here quick. So you start out with a front, which is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, and this is scored at 2 3/4. So basically, you get an A2 with a little tail on it. And then you do the same thing, only 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. This is going to be the middle. You score it at 4 1/4, so you make a little square card. And then the back is the easiest piece to identify because it's 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, and it's scored at 5 1/2 to create a glue tab, basically. So those are your pieces. Then on your front, you want to decide where you want to put your pop-up window. You can cut this out with a punch, or you can cut it out with um, dies. I want the die option because my punch, as you can see, cuts very close to the edge over here. So it wasn't going to work because I didn't want to cut more than, I wanted at least 1/2 inch in because of the glue tab. And the way this thing goes together is, and I should say, after you punch the first one, then you just line up your inside card, which is the second piece, and punch through that. You may or may not be able to get 2 sheets on a single punch. I did, but I'm using 80-pound card weight Nina this time around, just because I knew that it was going to have a bunch of pieces of paper. If And the easiest way to line these things up is to just line up this edge and then trace it and then punch it out. Anyway, so there's that, and then there's the back. And the way this thing goes together is that basically you adhere the back to the glue tab, and then you adhere the front right next to the window. So you basically have, here you have 3 layers with all the circles lining up, they're looking directly at the back. And we have a little tab hanging out here for now. So when you are looking with the card closed, you're seeing all the way to the back of the card. So the back of the card is where the focal image will wind up going. And then you take this tab and you tuck it in under the inner card. So like when you open, whoops, you don't need the back for the moment, but basically when you open the card all the way, you see the back of this tab. So this is where you would put your card open focal image. And then you would decorate the inside of the inner card. So if this were open, it's going to, when it's open, it looks like this essentially. The tab extends almost all the way to the edge, other than to the glue tab. So if you wanted to decorate the inside, it would go here. And we will. But let's concern ourselves with the other parameters. And then I punched out 2 circles so that it's easy to stamp the focal images. And as you saw, I grabbed my Uhuhu markers, and we're going to just sort of do a quick color on the images after we stamp them. Let's actually grab our Misty and do our stamping of the focal images next. And the other option here is, you could simply use die cuts for this, which we could actually do. now that I think about it, because we can certainly use the stamps to do rain, but we still have a bunch of spring die cuts. So we could also, I don't know if I have anything that's rain themed. Not, oh, I have an umbrella. That would be cute. Okay, I think we're going to change my mind entirely, and if you're new here, that happens every so often. But we have this cute little umbrella that we could definitely put as sort of, how does this look behind here? We could definitely use this in front. Definitely use that, well, we could use this on the front for sure. I kind of like that. Then we could do some ink blending because we're going to use the ink to distress the edge. So I like that for the front. I don't know if I have anything rain themed as a focal image, although I guess it doesn't have to be. So let's take a look here. The flowers, well, we have all these cute critters too. Let's let's see what we have in here. Oh, I like this. So we could start with a frog, because frogs to me say rain. And then we could, the bunny is going to be hard to notice, but we could use this little bird. I like that. Okay. So less stamping today. In fact, maybe none, because we have those pieces. And we just want to do sort of, I think I'll do a little ink blending, and these are all primary colors, so I think that, to me, certainly says kindergarten. Although, like, my favorite thing in kindergarten was color mixing, so it's kind of like any color kind of works for kindergarten colors in my mind, but, you know, I may still jump into, I'll probably still jump into the Simon Hurley set for a sentiment of some sort, um, but I think we're good here. And this will be neat because we can use the clouds maybe to do a background, but I don't know, I may just ink blend on it. I think that might look cool too. Anyway, I got a brand new, oh boy, ink pad after I went through my old one, and I picked up a re-inker for the small one, but I use this so much I figured I'd just get a full-size one while I was at it. So I'm just going to hopefully open that. I thought I cut through the plastic, but sometimes not. There we go. And I will endeavor to open this and not get ink all over myself. Fabulous. Okay. So, let us actually figure out a sentiment. We could actually, since this is all Spellbinder stuff, let's see if I have a Spellbinder sentiment. Because I have many, many Spellbinder sentiments. And let's see. None of these are quite fitting the bill. Let's see what we have left over. We had, oh, here we go. Oh, we've got tons. I like this one. This says, open your heart to life's possibilities. and that would sit really nicely at the bottom here. So I think we'll leave the inside pretty clean, and I think I'll just put the sentiment on it. Because the card itself is going to be relatively fancy. Let's grab apricot and my brown blending brush that's used to be my yellow blending brush, but that's a different story. Um, whoops. I will grab my Misty here quick and just do a little bit of ink around the edge. Because I really like this technique. I think I learned it from Sagar, and I think it was it was related to a different thing, but I actually really like it because it adds just a little color without, it being crazy. And then once this is open, let's close that. Essentially, we'll see the little red bird through the window, essentially, which I like. These are also pretty low profile, so that should make life pretty good. So I think we're good on the inside. We'll leave this relatively simple. Get the front here and get into my new ink. It's spring, so my cats are all very excitable. And we're just gonna do a homage to rain, as it were. And goodness, this is a juicy ink pad. But I kind of like this splotchy look for rain. I think I used it on another card as well, where it's just sort of like, it's just kind of fun. And I don't really need to do a ton more than this, I don't think, because I'm going to put our little umbrella on the side here. I will wait to do the umbrella probably until we are done. I don't know that I didn't actually get any ink on my fingers, which is miraculous, but I feel like we want to put this together and then decorate it, since I think it'll be easier that way. So I will get that out of the way. Oops, and rescue the blade that fell off my trimmer quickly. Oh, let's put you back together before I lose you somewhere. There we go. Oh. There we are. Okay. Too many paper trimmers on my desk. Anywho, we are back to assemble this. And I picked up one of these Karen Berniston fine tip glue bottles that are pretty neat, actually. They're a needle tip, but they have a needle built into the lid, so to keep this clear. So hopefully that will work. So the first thing here, and you can either do this with tape or with glue. I'm going to use glue today. I find that the glue actually, I don't know, just gives me more working time, which I like. Is we want to basically make sure this is pretty well burnished so that it's pretty flat. Because what we're going to do is add glue, line this up, and make sure that this sticks. So we will see how well this new glue bottle works. That looks pretty nice, actually. So we take the little card, we fold it up, and all we really have to do is get this, Try not to get glue all over your hands, but get this nice and lined up, and then also get it lined up with the rest of the card, and then you just can burnish it again. I'll just give that a minute to adhere, and I'll clean off my surface a little bit. Karen actually recommends taking a little cup and putting some wet paper towels in it, and then you can just leave this glue bottle upside down, and then it won't clog, basically, as long as you refresh the paper towels every so often. So, if we're lucky, this has adhered and not glued to the card, which is indeed the case. We could leave this a little bit to let it dry, but I think we'll be safe. As you see, like, when I punch this double thick, some of the glue adhered to the base. But basically, to glue the second one, you're going to do the same thing, but you just want to line up the windows in the edge here. But you can use wet or dry adhesive. It's easier if you put the adhesive on the bottom layer, because then you don't really have to worry about it. I'm just going to sort of trace around the window a little bit and do a little bit elsewhere. And then a little along the edge here. Basically, the only thing you want to be careful of is gluing the whole card together, which would not be awesome. And we're just going to grab our bone folder, or you can do this with other things as well. You just want to basically burnish the glue so that it adheres nicely, which it has done. And then you have your, basically, you have your tab sticking out here, and then everything else is ready to go. So we want the frog all the way at the base. And the cool thing about the way we did this is normally if you have a bigger, if you, wow, words today. So if you have a bigger piece, what you basically can do is just align it, and then you can basically open the card entirely here. So you could then align this and glue it down. So, but because we're using ephemera here, we probably don't need to worry about that too much, because everything should pretty much just go down nicely. Anyway, this wasn't really my plan, but hey, we sort of changed things up because it seemed like a fun idea. Anyway, I'm going to just put our little froggy down. And again, wait a few moments for the glue to adhere. This won't be fully dry, obviously, but it should be dry enough to move on, essentially. And I'll do the same thing. I do actually really like the idea of this like tone-on-tone blue on the front. Even though it was an idea I sort of came up with 4 seconds ago. And here we definitely want to make sure we get the shaft of the umbrella. And the neat thing about this particular ephemera is because it's sort of edged the way it is, essentially with an offset, it makes it look really neat. Like, it really has it sort of stand out, in my opinion, against the background. And then we will stick the tab in. So you can probably see that easier here. So this is the middle card. It's glued to the front. It's also glued to the glue tab. The glue tab is back here. And then you fold in the tab here and fold here. So now it looks like a card. And then when you open it up all the way, we have our inside. We basically want our bird to be here. So all we really need to do is either put some glue, or you can also do this with tape as well. So I am just going to glue our little bird in. I am going to Sort of center him in the window. Then I'm actually going to just unfold the card whilst he is drying, just to make sure we don't glue the whole card together. And if you wanted to, obviously, you can embellish this a bit more. And I think he's all right. So now we can just refold the card. So now we have this, and then when it opens, you have your bird. Open your heart to life's possibilities. I don't know, we could see too if we want to. There might be something similar. I'm going to actually. I'm very curious. I'm very curious if this needle will keep the pathway free. Let's see if we can. There might be another. I do like Love This Day. I like Lovely Day. I think I like this as an idea, right? Because usually we're all very complaining about the weather. But if you're a frog, you wouldn't be that complaining about the rain. And then when you open it up, you have the owl, and you could say, "Open your heart to life's possibilities." I like that. That's kind of a fun thing. Okay, so craft roulette is done. And we totally changed our plan, but I think it worked out. And we also got to use up some of my copious amounts of Spellbinder's ephemera, so everybody wins. Anyway, next up, let me see what we're doing later this week. Oh, LV Handcrafted did a cool accordion card, and I have that whole summer coffee series of stuff from Not Too Shabby. So I think we're going, and she did the accordion card on their channel. So I think we'll see if we can't redo the Not Too Shabby accordion card. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Thanks for checking it out.